to Ron Siegel Radio on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guests and repeat offenders, both of them. Mark Rhone, Stonebrook Insurance Services. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you with us. Ryan Ottosen, Ottosen & Company. Welcome, Ryan.
Thanks, Ron. Happy to be here.
Glad to have you back with us as well. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We start every morning with Ask Your Mortgage Advocate. I get all kinds of questions coming in on a regular basis. Some of the best ones, some of the more interesting ones. I don't know interesting for who, but probably for me. The more interesting ones I do start the broadcast with. So here is the latest. Ron, I'm looking at an FHA loan. I have a student loan with payments deferred for the next 2 years. Should those be eliminated from my ratios? Well, we've talked about this one a little bit before, but I'll share the answer with you. No, they don't get to be eliminated from your ratios. Basically, the rule of thumb is if you cannot document that a debt is deferred more than 3 years, cannot eliminate them from your ratios. Even more, here's the tricky part of this whole scenario. If you've got installment debts that are deferred and there's no payment showing on your credit report, the guidelines say that the lender needs to use 5% of the outstanding balance, 5%. If it is a student loan, the lender must use the actual payment or 2% of the outstanding balance. Sometimes those are a lot larger numbers than what your actual payment's going to be. So if you can find a way to get that reported or get documentation for your lender stating what your legitimate payments are going to be, something that's serious, you need to address it. It's not going to go away. And let me just remind you this, the day and age of being able to lie to a lender, it's gone. Every single loan that goes through has what's called a fraud guard report, and it's going to tell you more about yourself than you know, or it's going to tell the lender more about you than you want them to know. So if you've got a property that's free and clear, and you didn't tell the lender about it because there's no payments involved, they're going to still see it there and ask you about it because it's going to show up. Then they've got to build your property taxes and insurance payments, or supposed property taxes and insurance payments, into the file. So it's a lot, and all it's going to end up doing is going to delay you at the end of the day because they're going to find it, and they're going to come back to you and want to have a letter of explanation as to why did you not tell us about this. And then what ends up happening, it's just basic common sense. Think about this. When you find out something that your kids should have told you and they didn't, what do? Do you look a little deeper then? Well, that's the same thing that an underwriter is going to do. If they find that there's data in there that they should have been told and the loan officer did not tell them, they're going to start looking a little deeper to find out what else didn't he tell me about. Just the way we are as humans. So that is the Ask Your Mortgage Advocate segment today. If you need help with any kind of lending guidelines or anything like that, give us a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Boy, you got to say a little prayer this morning. We had another one of these loony terrorist attacks, this time in the U.S., I've been sharing with you and discussing the fact that it's going to come to the U.S. soil. We have two options. Unfortunately, our president doesn't understand this. But there's two options, in my opinion, when you see these jihadists, these crazy radicals, is either take the battle to them, which is what President Bush said, or wait for them to bring the battle to us. And unfortunately, now we've got 4 dead Marines on U.S. soil, a police officer, and thank goodness, seems like doing a little bit better in Tennessee. So when you say your prayers today, remember their families. They signed up to protect our country, and my personal opinion, some of our leadership is failing them. I really wish that we would arm these people. We can arm them to go overseas and fight battles, but when they're here, they're not competent enough to have a sidearm. I mean, does that make any sense at all to anybody? I know there's the loons out there that think that guns kill people, and there's probably not been ever a gun that killed a person. There's somebody that's holding the gun that does it. You got the loon up in San Francisco that killed somebody, and then the equivalent loon that was on the San Francisco supervisors that said we need more gun control laws. What about that? I think there's a law on the books, and I don't know how many of the criminals follow these laws. I follow laws pretty intently. There is a law that says you're not supposed to shoot another individual. Now, they broke that law, but they're going to abide by the law that says you can't have a gun. Does that make any sense to anybody but the loons in San Francisco? And I shared with you earlier in the week that some of these places, San Francisco, I wouldn't want to take my family there. I don't go to Mexico. I don't take my family to Mexico. Why do I want to go someplace where I'm going to put my family in danger, and the leadership of the community says, this is a place where we want danger? Does that make any sense? I might better get off my soapbox, otherwise I'm sure we'll get a bunch of calls today about this one, but something, bring it. As Janae Noonan said yesterday, bring it. Let's chat about it. I have no problem talking about these things. They're on the front of our minds. Speaking about fairness, how about United States Supreme Court case, Evanwell versus Abbott, causing considerable upset among some of our liberal friends in Sacramento, because a victory for the plaintiffs will have a significant positive long-term effect on California politics. The Supreme Court, you've got 4 liberals, you've got 4 conservatives, and John Roberts, who doesn't know what he's doing. He goes both ways. I think we might call him Caitlin Roberts next year or something like that, because he's not sure what he's doing over there. But this one here is all about fundamental fairness in elections. And I'm a big advocate for the showing a ID for elections. I can't understand why somebody feels that it's an intrusion to show ID to vote, but it's not an intrusion to show ID to get Sudafed or alcohol or cigarettes. I think it's just another one of those loony plans, but this one here is all about districting, and the idea that you have to build the districts based on how many people are there, not how many voters are in a district. It might be a little interesting seeing what happens here. This was brought from Texas, and it's one of the things we've talked about many, many times. Think about this. Obviously, my opinion about the amateur in the White House. But if we do things that if we get some of our liberal friends start voting for things that they want today, when you get somebody normal in the White House who understands the Constitution, they get the same rules and guidelines. That's what's happened in Texas here. Texas came across with this idea of saying that they don't want, about the districting. Well, California is getting to live with the same rules because they apply for everybody. The United States Supreme Court doesn't just have borders on it. Think about that next time you go to vote. Speaking about voting, how about the San Diego Union Tribune coming out with a new article about no pain, no gain? It's an interesting concept right here in our own backyard, talking about some people might finally get a clue that there might not be any pensions for any of the government workers if we go grease on them. Think about that concept. So San Diego now, the San Diego County Employees Retirement Association is looking at ways that maybe in the future they can reduce some of their debts on pension reform. Might be a better idea to go through the pension reform than San Bernardino bankruptcy and then they get nothing at all. Plan it out ahead of time. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, insurance, helping out veterans, those are both on the docket today. Home updates for less than $10,000. How quickly are homes selling? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel, and now we've got all of the broadcasts posted on YouTube as well. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037 and DRE number 018694552. Southern California attorneys have over 15,000 real estate agents to call in Orange County for their personal and professional needs. Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message. And as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. Great partner with us now. Commerce for a Cause. Do you have a business? Do you take credit cards? Do you pay a credit card? Easy for me to say. Credit card processing fee? Well, if the answer to any of those is yes, obviously I know if you take credit cards, you're paying a processing fee. Think about this. Commerce for a Cause will take over the credit card processing for you. Exact same pricing that you're paying now, same terms that you have now, or better. But they're going to give 20% of the processing fee to the charitable organization of your choice. Love ways that we can all help the community. Commerce for a Cause. So the question we have today, or the discussion, what's going on in real estate? Are houses selling? Are they not selling? Are they moving? What's the time frame? And what does that mean to you? Well, here's the idea, here's the concept. 45% of the homes sold in less than a month, according to the National Association of Realtors. Homes sold in 60 days or less in 35 out of 50 states and D.C. There's only a couple places where it takes more than 60 days right now to sell a house. California is in that group of 30 days or less. What are the caveats there? Well, you better price your property properly. If you're trying to get way outside of market, you're going to fall out of escrow and your house isn't going to sell. Here's the question that I ask all the time. Do you really want to have your house on the market? I suggest most people really don't like having their house on the market. What they would do, once they've made the decision to sell the house, if they're smart, they've also made a decision to get divorced from the property. Try and get rid of the emotion of the property. Price it properly. I've shared with you before, I'm going to give you a real-time, real quick story. I was working with a buyer who was looking at a property in Los Angeles, 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath condo. Property went on the market at $549,000. They looked at it, thought it was a great, great buy. Well, it was. 15 other people thought it was a great, great buy also. And the people I was chatting with dropped out of the competition for this property. Remember I said it went on the market at $549,000. The people I was with dropped out at $660,000. The bottom line there is properties are going to sell at market value always. The market will determine what the value is, and if you price your property aggressively and properly, you're going to get more people looking at it. And I don't know what this property would have sold for otherwise, but I see people when they price the property low, they get more for the property because they build up demand. It's basic economics, supply and demand. People look at it and they get more people seeing it because it was priced so aggressively. Just a thought for you, if you're thinking about selling, talk to an agent that understands this philosophy. Go in and ask them, what's the property value? And then here's the tough part. If they will put the correct wording in the contract and list the property 10% below market value, and then you need to go away and get divorced because it's going to drive you crazy, what's going to happen? You're going to get market value or more. Think about it. That's the Mortgage Minute, again, brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. So we have a very interesting discussion today. I really enjoy when I have the opportunity of chatting, actually with both of our guests today, Mark Rhone, Stonebrook Insurance Services, Ryan Ottosen and Company. We're chatting before the broadcast today. Ryan helps veterans find housing, and Mark insures all of us. I like the idea, Mark. You just and you know something. The fun part about what the conversation is because we get to talk about the idea of helping people, right? I mean, a lot of people look at insurance and say, "Those darn insurance companies, big company," but you bring it back, Mark, to a hometown feel, right? Because you're not the big bad insurance company. You're an individual out there helping one family at a time.
Exactly, and when they have needs and everyone, you know, insurance is that investment that you never want the return on.
Right.
But when you have that claim or that situation in your household or your car or whatever it happens to be, you want to make sure you have a carrier that's there and an agent that's there that helps understand and walk you through that process.
And I suggest it's, to me, you know, I think it's got to be more the agent, right? Because, you know, I don't know anybody that goes and talks to Mr. Allstate. I don't even know if there is a Mr. Allstate.
Right.
Right? They talk to the individual, and I don't even know which companies you represent. It's just a point of reference. Is I can pick up a phone and call Mark.
Right.
I can't pick up a phone and call Mr. Safeco or whoever the company is.
Right.
They don't mean anything to me.
They don't. And long term, I think it's more important to have a local agent that you work with, only because of the fact that, if you do it off of a website or something like that, as time passes, your life changes.
Right.
And you have certain needs that come up. And to be able to have that long-term continued relationship with someone that you can call and they see where you've been, where you're heading, and what you need. I think a local agent does help that.
And they need to be somebody, in my opinion, that is working in concert with the rest of your household board of directors.
At 100%. Your attorneys, your
Attorneys,
tax
realtors.
realtors, tax guys. I mean, you're talking about one of the largest, in most people's cases, the largest investment they'll ever make. Their
Sure,
homes.
absolutely.
And make sure we're protecting them.
And, we were just talking before we went on air today about a young couple that's buying a house, and their ratios are tight.
Right.
And there's nothing that says that we can't put a real aggressive, my mind just went blank, the copay, not the copay, deductible.
Yes, sir.
So you could put a real aggressive deductible. How long do they have to keep that deductible?
They can change it any time. I mean, one of the things that I suggest, and you and I have talked about before as well, is that I think no matter how versed you are in insurance, especially if you're buying move-up property or your first property, no matter what, at the first year, it's worth a review, just to make sure your coverages are in line and in place with what you need for that property. Because you may have taken a policy that either had too big of a deductible, or maybe your coverages were a little weaker than they need to be, and after that first year you get settled in, you find out everything about the property, you get through all of your loan process and stuff like that. Then you take a review of that property insurance to make sure it really is properly covering you for that.
And I don't know anybody that is stagnant, right?
That is true.
So maybe you're newlyweds, maybe you're not, maybe you're single.
Exactly.
And you get married, so now you've got different needs.
100%.
And then you've got kids.
Right.
The needs change.
Exactly. Rings, jewelry, kids, life insurance needs.
The kids leave home.
Exactly. On the other side of that, the kids started exiting out of the house. What does that look like? Or driving,
And what you're trying to accomplish with the insurance is a big issue too, right? Maybe I need to in case something, when I first got my first insurance policy, it was basically a life insurance and I never thought I needed life insurance until my wife got pregnant.
Right.
Right, and then I've got these needs of taking care of a house and a wife and a child in college. Well, now that my kids are beyond the college years, I don't need to be covered for college expenses.
Exactly. And having that trusted consultant, just like in your industry, that trusted consultant that brings that all together for you to help walk that time of your life and those different stages of life.
Here's the other part of it that I often wonder, and I'll throw this at you, Mark, is how can you, as an insurance guide or counselor for me, really give me good guidance if I'm going to you for my house and the internet for my car, and the guy down the street for my life and somebody else for my aren't I kind of going to be spending way too much money then?
You may or may not be spending too much money, but what happens is you end up with gaps or things that are missed in your coverages and maybe what you need. One of the things we do in our office, whether or not I have your life insurance, whether or not I have your auto, if I have any piece of business of your insurance needs, if just one of them, my conversations with my clients are always going, look, we'll learn your business one policy at a time. So I'll help look at whatever it is. We'll do reviews of any of your insurance needs, whether or not we've got that business in our office or not.
And that's the beauty. That's why I love having you on, and I love sending people over to talk to you, is because of that mindset. The mindset isn't about, well, I'm not taking care of the car insurance, so go talk to whoever that is. Right? It's building a relationship with somebody and understanding that if you do what's right, what goes around comes around.
100%. I actually had a client that left our office because of something that he was kind of sold on, and he called me back a week later and he said that other guy, it turns out, gave him misinformation, and at the end of the day, at the end of the conversation, he goes, and by the way, Mark, he's just not you, which is great. It's a great compliment to the service we're providing for our clients in our office.
Absolutely, and that's what's the important issue is, and I bet it's gratifying for you to live life with your clients.
Right, 100%.
Right, I mean,
right, and you know you're doing right by them. You go home and you see him at the park when you're at the concerts in the park, and you see him at the grocery store and whatever it happens to be.
And you don't have to run the other way because you know that you did the right thing all the time.
Absolutely not.
And it's easy when you're not stiffing people.
Exactly.
You don't have to remember those things.
Exactly.
And I'm not very smart, so I'm just a simple guy.
Exactly.
Right. Well, we're going to talk more about that. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. More with Mark Rhone when we come back. We're also going to talk to Ryan Ottosen about helping the ones that make our freedom possible. Love these type of conversations as well. Remember, you can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Now the shows are all replayed, not only in the archives, Audible, or on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Attention homeowner 62 and older. Do you worry if you can afford to keep your home? Are you concerned about paying all your monthly expenses? Or do you simply wish you could live a better retirement? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may qualify for a program that can help. It's called FHA Reverse Mortgage. It's insured by the federal government. You'll receive tax-free money. You aren't required to make any monthly mortgage payments, and you still own your home. Siegel Lending Team is a local leader in FHA reverse mortgages. Call free to get your free reverse mortgage guide, free custom quote. And when you call now, you can get all your questions answered by local experts. There is no monthly mortgage payment and tax-free money you can use for healthcare expenses, home improvements, or just live a better retirement with peace of mind. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-1990 to get your free reverse mortgage guide and quote. You'll also find them on the web at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Call 800-306-1990 now.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today brought to you by the Ron Siegel Radio VIP Hero Program. Kind of fitting. I didn't even think about this being the sponsor of this segment, but Ryan, you'll appreciate this one.
All right.
VIP Hero Program. It's for military, active, retired, reserve, National Guard, law enforcement, firefighters, healthcare professionals, first responders, teachers. The real estate agents that are engaged in this program, they all give a rebate to the client. The lenders, they have rebates for the clients. The title company, they've got special published rates for our VIP heroes. Lawyers are giving discounts? Holy cow. For the VIP heroes. And our credit repair specialists, they've all got discounts for the heroes. Gotta love it. So what are we talking about today is 5 home updates for $10,000 or less that might give you a good return on your investment if you're thinking about selling your house at some point in the future. How about improving the kitchen? It's one of the first places I know. I've looked at houses. With what I do, I'm blessed. I get to see houses that are first-time home buyers' houses that are $150,000, $200,000 homes. I've also been in homes that are, I think the largest priced home I've been in was up for sale at $30 million. So I've seen a pretty decent range of homes. The kitchen seems to be the place where people congregate no matter what the value is of properties. Adding a new bath, now the $30 million house, I don't think you can get away with a kitchen that's going to cost less than $10,000. Just want to be upfront with you. But in most homes, improving or enhancing the kitchen, new bathrooms, adding some color to the yard, putting some cosmetics around the house, making it look pretty, getting rid of the clutter, a little bit of a makeover, fresh coat of paint. Even if you don't put in new carpets, get them cleaned. Now, these are just simple things that we don't think about when we're going to sell a house. You can do all that stuff for a minimal amount of money, and I don't say $10,000 is no money. I'm saying minimal amount of money, but it can bring you a good return, make your house sell faster, top dollar. Isn't that what you're after? That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment, again brought to you by Ron Siegel Radio VIP Hero Program. So speaking about heroes, we're going to chat today with Ryan Ottosen and Company, about some programs that you've got going on for the heroes.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, what you're looking for, Ryan.
So what I'm looking for is landlords, property owners. It doesn't matter if you're a large property management company, if you're a mom and pop operation, if you are a property manager and you want to have your organization move in the right direction, we're looking for landlords to open their doors and house our veterans.
And is that all you're dealing with is veterans?
No, so we own our own real estate brokerage. So if you're looking to buy or sell your house, you live up in the Glendora, San Dimas area, I'd be happy to take care of you. Of course, the best part is we give back. 10% of every one of our sales, property management contract, anything. We have a couple of local nonprofits that deal with veterans housing, and so we give right back into the local community.
And you've got experience as a veteran.
I do. 8 years in our beloved Marine Corps, so believe me, my heart breaks and my trigger finger itches at what happened in Tennessee. So I do. 8 years in the Marine Corps. I invaded Iraq in 2003 with part of RCT-1, and I love this country. I love real estate. I love the opportunity to house veterans. It's good for the vets, it's good for our country, it's good for our community.
Well, on behalf of those listenings, I say thank you. Because I couldn't get up in the morning and come in here every day and could you imagine going into Russia and saying that Mr. Putin's an amateur?
No.
Probably wouldn't be able to say it a second time.
Probably not getting away with it. Right.
Right, but I have that opinion. I mean, I know there's people that don't agree with me. I'd say it with all due respect. He's the President of the United States. You've got to respect the office. I don't agree with his policies. But because of people like you and your brothers, we're able to say that.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's fantastic. I mean, does it infuriate me when I see people burn the flag or desecrate the flag? It drives me crazy, but at the same time, that's what we fought for, right? We fought for them to have the right to do that. So sometimes, sarcastically, I want to say, hey, thanks for exercising the right that you didn't have to fight for.
Right.
Right? I mean,
absolutely.
We are blessed, and truly the definition of the word blessed, to live in this country, to be born here. We have rights now, I think, that our citizenry doesn't even know that they have, that was paid for by the blood of our forefathers.
I always invite those folks, and it's really a simple line. I mean, if they're so unhappy, why don't they move?
Right.
Preach it.
100%.
Preach it.
It's really simple.
Right.
No, we're unlike most every other country. I mean, if you say to Russia, I don't like it here, I'm going to leave, they don't let you. Our borders are open. Well, they're open more than they should be. But go down to Mexico.
For another day.
Right, go down to Mexico. El Chapo there is waiting for you, or whatever. Right? No, there's no reason to stay if you're not happy.
It's truly, I've been fortunate to travel into 22 different countries because of the Marine Corps. And having seen the lifestyle and the countries and just the cultures and what other people have to go to or go through in those countries. Listen, are we a perfect nation? Absolutely not.
No.
But are we the best country that ever blessed the face of this earth? Absolutely we are. The freedoms that we have here. The poorest of our poor are richer than some of the richest in other countries. We are spoiled, and we have become apathetic and lazy as citizens.
100%.
Absolutely. And you know what really has frustrated me, Ryan, and I'm glad that you come on to talk about it, is that there's so many of the men and women who have fought for our freedoms that come back and they don't have a roof over their head. And the fact that you're working to try and change that, let's talk about what we're trying to accomplish with those folks.
Absolutely. It seems so simple to me. We have now, and I'll speak to LA County because that's Volunteers of America. I'm their housing specialist for the Greater Los Angeles office. And so we're working right now with other organizations, United Way, Goodwill, and we're literally trying to bring in as much publicity as we can in LA County. Robert McDonald, the VA secretary, was here with Mayor Garcetti a couple weeks ago doing a big push for this. And it is literally, we need landlords. Open the doors. There are approximately 4,300 homeless veterans in LA County, single-handedly the largest population across the United States. I think it's disgusting, and I can't believe in a county with this much wealth and this much real estate that this is a problem. The government has backed this. I think it's a great thing. It's our tax dollars at work that said, hey, here's the deal. We have now in LA County, we have enough dollars to pay the rent for every single one of those veterans to get off the street. I just can't find the landlords. I have called the Volunteers of America. Their interns have been calling. Their case managers have been calling. And we get told no time and time again because they don't want to house either a veteran or they're afraid of the government program. So I am now, thank you for having me on, going on a speaking tour and trying to educate landlords and the general public on what it means to actually house a veteran, build a support system around them. So we're truly looking for landlords to open their doors.
Now, let me understand correctly also, because you're not looking for a long-term commitment for the veteran, right? You're trying to build a game plan for the veteran to basically be on their own, owning their own home, owning their own life, owning their own career?
Absolutely. It's why I love this program. So as a veteran, once you get in, you get approved, the landlord says yes, you're in and you're on a voucher. Well, these housing vouchers can go for an extended period of time, but most veterans that I talk to, they don't want a handout. They're looking for a hand up. They're looking to say, hey, I came home, I struggled, I need to get going, how can you help me out? So once we get the veterans in, it's easy for me just to say, hey, thanks, Mr. Landlord, here's your rent, I'm out of here. But am I really doing the landlord or the veteran a service by doing that? The answer is no. So because of the people over at VIP Mortgage, some of the credit people have talked to you about, Ron, I'm looking to build something after that. Once they get in, their case managers are required to see them 4 times a month. They're required to do an in-home visit once a month. So when they say, Ryan, hey, let's start talking long-term, perfect. Now we come in, we assess the veteran's credit, we look at them to see if they're able to purchase a home, and then we work with them to put a plan together that says, hey, here's how you get into this rental property. Now that you're here, let's start working on how to get you out and into your own home. P.S. We were working with local churches, Christ Church of the Valley, local veteran organizations like Frontside Ministry are saying, we'll come alongside you, help fund you, help close some of the gaps between landlords and tenants. Let's see what we can do. So literally, the community is rallying around this idea of long-term sustainment to help the veteran get up and then out and back on his feet.
Now, being that we're, obviously YouTube reaches the entire world where our shows are broadcast, are there programs like what you're doing in other counties, other communities around the country?
Absolutely. I'd love to think I was this smart, but I'm not. There are these vouchers across every city, every county, every state, and I know that because of our recent housing bubble, there are now landlords across every city, county, and state. The market crashed. A lot of investors took advantage of it, bought rental property, and now here's an opportunity for them to actually, if we're going to talk math and numbers and invest in real estate, here's a chance for them to possibly increase their ROI, and why not do that while you're housing a veteran? So these programs are nationwide. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can absolutely house a veteran in any city.
And this is pretty amazing because, some of the things that I'm listening to you say, just it gets better and better, right? Because we hear people that talk about, What's the biggest worries that a landlord has? They worry about getting paid and the security of their property.
Absolutely.
So they're getting paid because a combination of the vouchers and maybe some other supplements that you're able to arrange.
Correct.
And then there's also somebody coming in to visit the property once a week.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've never heard of a government organization, and I'm going to say this honestly, I've never heard of a government organization doing it right. And it feels like we're finally starting to get this right. It really feels like we're saying, hey, veterans, we're not going to leave you alone. We're going to put you in a house. We're going to check on you. We're going to make sure you're doing good. We're going to build a plan for you. And then we're going to wrap it around so you're not required to live on the government anymore. We're going to help you get into your own house. It's fantastic.
The challenges with that, though, I think for the landlord is that they've not seen that before. With some of the other government programs that are out there,
correct,
that has not been the case.
And
they've been left with tenants that are not responsible, that don't take care of the property, and nobody does anything about it.
Right. And there's no game plan for it.
There's no game plan. So to have those landlords understand that no, this is a different situation, I think will help develop more.
And we're going to talk more about all of that. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. We're going to chat more with Ryan and Mark, how you can help and how we can get the information to you. That's what our job is to share the information. You can reach me anytime. Call our off-air number. If you've got a house, call me right now, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. If you've got an apartment building, whatever, call us. I'll put you in touch with Ryan. Connect with us on Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com or call today Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation in MLS 217037 and BCalBRE number 018694552.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations in MLS 21037 and DRE number 018694552.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Well, you know something? The last time I looked at the calendar, it was Friday. And Friday means it's Ron Siegel Radio Date Night, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Get a dinner gift card for 2 people over at Reunion Kitchen and Drink, one of my favorite restaurants. That's how I got to be this size. I go there way too often. They don't think I'm there too often, but get a dinner gift card. We've got some other gift cards for you. Give you some tickets to a movie. Take that special someone with you. Here's the question. It's always going to be a question. It's going to be related to something we spoke about during the last 7 broadcasts. So this week we spoke to the MMA national champion who wrote the book Fighter, Living Life Like a Champion. Who was that MMA national champion that was on the broadcast with us? If you are the 5th person to post the correct answer to facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, you are the winner. 5th person to post the correct response, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. That would be the winner of the Ron Siegel Radio Date Night, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Love giving away stuff. It's always fun to just give things to people and just over having fun. But we've got some serious business that we are talking about this morning. We're chatting with Mark Rhone, Stonebrook Insurance Services, Ryan Ottosen, Ottosen and Company. We're chatting this morning about, we've got, Ryan, I don't know if you even know this number. I'm going to throw this at you, but there's, hundreds of thousands of veterans coming back that are coming back to uncertainty. I mean, you served 8 years. What's it like coming back? I mean, do you know what you're going to find? Is it...
No, coming back is I actually transitioned twice. So I got off active duty once, became a police officer, 9/11 went down, so then I re-enlisted in the reserves and then went to the invasion in 03. And so both transitions were equally unique, one coming out of combat and one not. But you don't know. You have an idea. You know that you're done serving and you're excited to become a civilian again. But it's cold. It's thanks for serving, the door's closed, good luck. And what does that look like? So it is uncertain. You think you're going to go to college, you think you're going to get a job, you think you're going to do this, and suddenly you're sort of dangling in the wind a little bit.
And a lot of the men and women that I hear from, they come back, they go over or they enlist relatively young. They come back where some of their friends that they had before they left, they're now finished with college. They're in different worlds. And there's some uncertainty when some of these men and women come back.
There is. So you talk about enlisting young. I enlisted at 17. My mom and dad, I had to convince them, maybe I've been in sales my whole life, to sign the paperwork for me to join the Marine Corps as a machine gunner. So that was, and there is. I mean, I came back and had conversations with friends that were graduating college. And my first 4 years, I was pretty active. Like I said, 22 countries. I think I hit 10 that first 4-year tour. And our conversations are so different,
right?
That you almost start to. I realized that I started to pull back just because of the look on their faces when I was sharing stories. They just can't comprehend, which to me is normal life or everyday stuff that you see, and they think you are now a different guy or a weird individual, or oh, you must need to be treated kindly now because how do you see such things? And so they literally start changing their face, and yeah, you sort of start to pull in a little bit.
And what you're doing makes so much sense to me, just because, how do we help? And those of us that have been blessed, I mean, I did not serve. I thank God every day for those that did. But I think that, we had a gentleman in that was in the Green Beret, and he made a comment on air one day that he believes that everybody should be required to serve. And he said not that they should be required to serve in the armed forces, but either armed forces, reserves, working around the city, picking up trash, going to a park and cleaning, something like that, so they understand that what we have isn't free.
Right.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think service, it breeds a sense of leadership, right? A servant leadership that says, hey, when I'm putting my back into this, when I'm sweating for this, again, Peace Corps, Conservation Corps, Marine Corps, as long as you're serving something greater than yourself, right? It teaches you something. It teaches you something you can't get out of a textbook. And it does. It breeds, we call it in the Marine Corps, esprit de corps. Maybe this is something that will start generating an esprit de country again, right, where we loved this country and we recognize what actually it is giving us just to be citizens of the United States.
Puts value to it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It does. Instead of just being, if somebody gives you a coffee mug, if it breaks, you say, they'll give me another one. Right?
Right.
I mean, if you had to go to work or make that, it carries a lot more meaning.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we were chatting about during the break, and I want to really dig into this, is landlords. I mean, we get a lot of people that either are landlords, want to be landlords. I had some folks I spoke to recently that had a home over near Chapman College, and they're thinking about putting 3 or 4 or 5 students in that property. Well, you know something? If you've got an apartment building and you've got 3 or 4 vacancies, maybe you're not going to get as much through this program as you might get on the open market, but you're going to get a whole lot more than a vacant door.
Yeah, surprisingly, you actually might get market rents. In LA County, the voucher programs have been increased to compete with market rents because they actually understand. I mean, I'll be bold and say this. This is a state of a national emergency. There's no way if we have a major earthquake in California and 4,400 citizens are displaced in Beverly Hills, that they're not screaming it's a national state of emergency and we need to get forces down here. I mean, this is a state of emergency. We're talking just in LA County, 4,400 veterans are homeless. Not Orange County, not San Bernardino, not Riverside, in one county. So,
and obviously San Diego's got a couple of bases, so I'm sure there's a good number
just
there.
Just a few, right? So, I mean, literally, we can now get market rents for you. And I just at my one office, there's 57 vouchered up veterans ready to go right now. Orange County, if you called in, anybody that's listening calls in and says, Ron, I got a vacancy, I got 3 vacancies, I got 5 vacancies, and I could pick up a phone call, drive out of this studio, and have you veterans ready to move into your units today. There's no reason for you to ever have a vacancy again. House a veteran, collect your rent, write it direct deposit right into your bank account. You have a tenant that loves this country so much he's willing to volunteer to go serve. You're now saying, hey, I want to bring a good quality tenant into my building. Let's start teaching, have these veterans, just them being around, you feel you have respect for them. You show respect by bringing us on and having us talk about this. It's infectious. Right now, your other tenants are around these other veterans. Upkeep of your building comes up a little bit. It's a better program for your building, for your other tenants. Yeah.
And it makes for a safer environment.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if you caught that news story. It was the last couple of days about the crook going into the liquor store and tried to rob the liquor store merchant with a knife. And just so happened there was a veteran right behind him, I think it was a Marine, and took the guy down and held him down until the police got there.
Absolutely.
Right? So, I mean, where would you rather have? If I've got an apartment building and I can put some veterans in there, you know that for the most part, I mean, obviously there's going to be some good and bad in everything.
Absolutely.
But if you give me an apartment building filled with veterans, I can feel pretty safe about my property.
Absolutely.
Improve your odds.
Right?
Higher quality.
Higher quality tenant, direct
higher level of
pay.
personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
And then we start building the game plan.
Absolutely.
Right?
And for me, that's my favorite part. It's a serious subject, and I get a little fired up, especially when you run a simple title search and you see how many homes that Fannie Mae still owns in LA County or Orange County. You see how many homes Freddie Mac still owns. So if the federal government is owning, let me phrase that, they don't own them, but it's a government-sponsored
Government-sponsored enterprise.
Yeah, whatever. So if that's the case, and then we're funding it with money, which is our tax dollars, and the government's creating the veterans, this seems like such a simple fix to me. Why are we not opening up our doors? And I'm saying, hey, if the government can't do it, which we're sort of used to, private sector, here we go. Let's take advantage of this and let's get them housed. But the fun part of such a serious conversation is once they're housed, now let's show our gratitude community. Now let's come around them. Now let's build their credit. Let's get them qualified to buy a home. Let's get them a job. Let's get them trained in a skill. Let's take what they've learned that we can't teach, which is leadership, right? The leadership that they've learned, that servant leadership mentality. Let's take that and unleash that into this generation. Let's get them housed. Let's get them educated. Let's get them employed. Let's get them in their own property, and let's turn them back loose onto this country. They always say America's best and the brightest is the United States military. If that's a true statement, and we believe it, That means the B team's been running the organization for the last 10 to 12 years while we've been fighting a battle, and the A team's coming back home. So let's get them housed and let's turn them loose and let's get them back out here in society.
Amen. No, I agree. Really,
absolutely.
Right?
We're the best and the brightest. Let's go. Why do we treat the best and the brightest like that?
And you know, and then it's the game plan. That's what I was starting to say is you get them that initial. I mean, first thing is get them off the street. Right. Get them a great job. And if you've got jobs, call me, 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with Ryan so you get them a job. Then we get them transportation, get them a vehicle. Then they think about what this does for the economy, right? You get a house, you get them a job, get them transportation. Now they need insurance, so I put Mark and his family to, takes care of their family. Part of the economy. Absolutely. You've got gardeners that are taking care of some of these properties, working their family, restaurants, and I mean, it just makes a huge circle, and that's what it's all about. So give me a call. Let's put this together. Let's get it done. Let's get the veterans housed, and let's make sure that you set the first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Call me anytime, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Make it a hurricane before I go insane. It's only 12:30, but I don't care. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700. Catch me weekdays at 7 a.m. ESPN Radio 1700.